Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with three S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, with my ride or die, but my ride or die no longer. He's now my global champion partner from the United States. We have Angelcake Drew. How are you today? How are you today?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah,
Good.
you know what? I'm in that mode that I'm like, yeah, that totally made sense. I'm doing well. I'm a little frantic to run around today and getting all excited for the World Championship. But I'm here, happy to talk to you about this season, about these two episodes, and do our power rankings for this upcoming season.
Yes, power ranking for the season. Now, I have to say, personally, I feel like this season started off with a bang. I'm into it. I like everybody. I'm just really excited to see how the season goes down. I just think I think it's so good. I think it's so good. I wish it was longer, like you said.
I agreed. I wish that I can't believe we got a cliffhanger on the episode 2 and it was 45 minutes because I want all these episodes to be like an hour long, hour plus long, because I think that there's so much content and entertainment and I want to see so many people all at once that the first episode felt, I don't know, I don't want to say perfect, but it felt really good that they allowed the storylines of everybody to get their screen time, talk, have everything like organically come out and progress. I don't know why I said it like that, but progress as it's going along, as well as we got some strategy and an elimination and a qualifier that was, I want to say, really, really thorough and entertaining. I just really enjoyed it. And then episode 2, I'm like in the thrall of it. I'm getting excited. We get who's nominated to possibly go into the next elimination, and then all of a sudden it just cuts off. And I'm like, you cut off at it's about to happen.
Yeah,
It's about to happen.
So do you think this is going to be a trend for each episode that we're not going to finish with an elimination? Do you think it's going to start each episode with the conclusion of the previous episode?
I hope not. I think it could be, especially if all the episodes going further is 45 minutes. But if the case is that there's only 10 episodes left and the final is going to be the whole last episode and we still have 14 pairs left in this game, I don't think they can split up everything unless they're going to make this season longer than 12 episodes than what they originally said. So I don't know.
I was really, really like, that was the low point, as like, oh my God, are they really not going to just let me see what happens here? Like, I'm coming back. I'm going to watch. I watched the global seasons. I watched the UK. I watched Argentina. Like, I watched Australia. I'm going to watch next week for sure. So like, you don't need to leave me on a cliffhanger. I'm enjoying it. I'm in, I'm invested, I'm watching. So I wish that they just didn't try to like lure me in, because I think the people that are watching it, especially watching it on Paramount Plus, it's like you do have to subscribe to be able to have this show for the most part. And so you have it as a part of your subscription, you're going to watch the show. I watched it at 3 a.m. I was awake at 2 and I was like, oh my God, should I stay awake and watch it? I was like, okay, I'll watch one episode. And I didn't watch one episode. I watched both. I went to sleep at 5:30.
That's how you do it. But I accidentally overslept. I actually had my alarm set for early morning on that Wednesday, and then I woke up to the sunlight, and I was like, "What time is it?" And I overslept accidentally.
Did you get spoiled at all? Because like, people start tweeting at 3 a.m. I'm like, people are sleeping.
I stayed away. I've been staying away from social media, like for personal reasons, but also that I was just like, I'm not going to look at anything. Like, I'm just going to go straight to my computer and watch it. And it was very entertaining. I loved it so much. I've watched it now 3 times, both episodes.
Ooh,
So
I have not watched it 3 times as of yet. I think I am going to watch it again though, just because I did enjoy it. And like, I only watched it once, but I watched it with like taking notes and like, you know, not just getting to sit back and relax and watch. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to take another opportunity to watch it again because I thought it was so fun. Which some of our friends here, I think, thought it was fun too. But Chris is here. Chris is off work. Yes, Chris, thank you for being here. We love people that are off work and hanging out with us to talk about the challenge. challenge. We will most likely be going back to our regular time slot at 8 p.m. unless that doesn't work for one of us, and then we switch it up. But we should be back next week at that time, just so you're aware. Oh, Chris is currently sitting on their couch and has a certification test tomorrow and study all day today. But you're taking a break to come and hang out with us. Yes, eat lunch and hang with us. That should be our new thing. Lunch and challenge chats. So fun. Dudley's here. Willie. Oh, people are in school. Oh my gosh, school. So long ago. School so long ago. Hello, 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 everybody. All right, so we didn't really realize how quickly this new season was upon us, and it kind of creeped up. And so we're going to bumble through this first week of power rankings, and then Drew was going to make the graphic, and we're going to, make it look more like power rankings like you're probably used to. But one thing I just wanted to mention is, did you love how they had the little person, like their little character show up on their Chiron talking about, it's basically their confessional on their Chiron?
Yeah, I loved it. I love all the little new stuff that they brought in, especially like in the qualifier when they had like, this is eating portion, and they had the name of the challenge as well as what they think of the percentages that you need to have to like complete this challenge. I thought that was really, really well done. I mean, I think the percentages are a little bit subjective, but overall, it's just an extra detail, some extra care that they're putting into this season, and I'm really enjoying it.
Me too. What do you think was in the first checkpoint of the qualifiers glasses?
I have no clue. Zara said that it was vegan.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it was. I don't even know what they were eating because they didn't even really talk about the eating or show them eating whatever was on the plate in front of them. It was mainly them drinking whatever concoction they had, and then Ben was just a freaking volcano. Like, I think Ben could give Corey a run for his money. That was disgusting. He was on the end, and he just was like, ah!
So I don't know if we'll end up placing in our tiers as well today. Like, maybe we'll get the ranking placement to start today, and then next week we'll also slot them into our tiers. Is Ben's projectile, what'd you call it? Puking? What'd you call it? Volcano.
Volcano.
Ben's volcanic puking at the camera, barf in his beard.
That was so nasty. You could just tell like TJ was having the most fun out of all the hosts, because the host didn't have like that eating challenge or a real eating challenge in the other spinoffs. So they were kind of just like, what are they going to get into? And then all of a sudden they're just like yakking.
What is this? They're all turned away and not wanting to watch what was going on, and TJ's just cackling. Actually, there was one point when Ben did that vomit to the camera, cut to TJ. Like, actually, it was too much for TJ at that point. That was very funny.
Bryony was like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And I have to say, out of all the challenge seasons, that is one of the grossest, like, sick scenes that I've watched. That was nasty.
Oh man, it was. I did have to look away a few times for sure, and I was like, oh god, this is so gross.
Yeah.
But I definitely thought the qualifier was pretty good. I wasn't sure with how like it was going to turn out, like whether they were going to pick the veterans or the vets were going to pick the MVPs. So how do you feel about it going this way? Is that the qualifier allowed the MVPs to choose their partners in the order they finished, obviously?
I think it makes more sense, especially if the MTV Legends weren't going to compete anyways, because then if it were the MTV Legends, it would have all came down to kind of like what they do in Fresh Meat, where they have to just run to a certain place and then pick up something, and there's a number at the bottom, to where then it's depends on who, like what number that they chose. It's basically luck. Whereas with the qualifier, they had to fight for their spot to not get last place and be sent into elimination and possibly get away from a vote. And I think they earned where they chose whatever MTV Legend they want. So I'm cool with how it all went down, especially if the MTV Legends weren't going to participate in a qualifier themselves, which makes sense since they had 2 less people. and they needed to chop off 2 people
Well,
from
I
this
have to
past
say
week.
also, remember we were kind of speculating like what they're going to do. It was an uneven number. Is there going to be like some sort of purge? And so there was a purge, but the full first episode was a purge episode, and like I loved how it played out. I love that like they did a challenge. The people that sucked, they had to go straight into elimination, like we always love. But then like it set the format up, but it didn't make me feel like the people that went out first that they didn't really get a chance. I think that they got a solid chance, and we got to know them, and I thought it was a great showing. So I was happy about it. I was happy about how they went down. So Lena here is saying that Grant said that it was biscuits with wasabi in the middle. That's not so bad.
That's not terrible, but it's also super bad because it's super hot in your mouth. You want something to get that hotness away, but then you have to drink this disgusting liquid that looked like ground up. I don't know. It looked like ground up, like what is it? Blue cheese. And then there's something in the middle of it.
It can't be blue cheese. Like what would it be?
That's exactly why I don't. It's grosser to me thinking that it looks like blue cheese, but it's not blue cheese. And there was something hard in the middle of it to where people had to actually chew whatever they were drinking. It looked like, or they were putting the stuff inside the drink to cool it down before eating it. I don't know. That was nasty.
It was
so nasty.
Lovable Nikki, you are right. Like it is the MVP's show because like we are also learning with the pairings that they're going to be representing the MVP's country. So yeah, 100%. It is the MVP's show, so it does make sense that they're the one that are picking their partners. So it's also really cool. I mean, I think that they did a good job with how they figured this out. I'm happy about it. Now are they going to screw it up? I don't know, but
I hope not. I really don't. And I just did the shot for shot. Well, I didn't do a shot for shot trailer breakdown, but I was going through the trailer, getting screenshots for tomorrow's Patreon live, where I'm going to do a shot for shot trailer breakdown. And I don't know, it's looking solid. I mean, from just the minute and a half that they had up there, I want to believe that the hype is going to stay for the rest of the season. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed for sure. Okay, so let's get into these power rankings. We're obviously going to be talking about more about the episode as we go through each of these duos that are now together. So I feel like there's no surprise with who we both most likely have in the number 15 spot. Hold on, let me just do one last thing. But who do you have there, Drew, while I get this going?
Our last spot of who is. Do we want to talk about?
Okay, let's talk about those two.
Eliminated?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about those two. Eliminated.
Yeah, so the 2 people that were eliminated right off the bat were Nathan, who was medically separated from the game, and then you had Claudia, who lost in the pole wrestle to Kiki. I'm very upset. I'm pretty disappointed that we wouldn't get to see Nathan go further into this game, because I think that it would have been super, super interesting, because he was already coming out firing with a lot of the strategy, talking to Troy and Tristan on the couch, talking about like, we need to grab these people and we're roomed with these people and we can grab them in and we can run this game. And I was thinking, this is awesome. Pair him up with his confessionals and he's going to be entertainment gold. And he didn't last more than halfway through this first episode. And I'm just pretty sad that we won't get to see more Nathan. Hopefully we get to see him later down the line, but
yeah, I totally agree that it really, really blows. You know, like you just said, he was someone that was like, he knew that there needed to be a strategy of some sort. He knew that they needed to have numbers, and he was already bringing in different people together than what we would be expecting. And so I wanted to see how that played out. I want to see new people figure out the game. I want to see new people like have their own sense of strategy and try to maneuver the world that we're really familiar with. And so are all of these vets that are coming in. So I'm really bummed that he didn't get that opportunity, and also bummed that the UK team takes a hit without actually taking a hit. And so just because there's not that many people from each country, it's like once you're down in numbers, it just makes you an easier target because you just have less people that are going to be coming back to hurt you or to come for you. So yeah, I was really I was really sad to see him go. And he was someone sabotage, right? Yeah, your sabotage. So that's
He was on
unfortunate
my
as well.
team. He
That
was
blows for sure.
definitely good sabotage from Chris to me. Um, he at least I will say at least Nathan broke even. He got 2 confessionals on his way out to being DQ'd. So, spoiler alert, he gained me 0 points. So if anything, it's not negativity brought onto the team, but I am pretty sad that we won't be
I
seeing
think that
him
he would have brought
at all.
some flavor to the
Oh,
season.
oh heck yeah,
Like
for
he's
sure. And
fun, wild, and willing to play, and he's big. And I think he probably got a lot of like, I'm pretty good at this, like when he did so well in his season. So I think he could be back because, if they're picking from the Geordie Shore well of MTV, like Kyle came from there. So why wouldn't Nathan, now that he's already been introduced to this MTV world? So I'm hoping that we see him in the future. I can see
and
it.
did you see Wes's tweet about Nathan
No.
saying how he was pretty upset. He was upset that he said that we were robbed of somebody who was going to be strategically smart and comedic gold, and that we kind of got robbed of not being able to see Nathan play on this season. So he hopes that even Wes hopes that Nathan will be coming back onto the main season or an MTV season, be back on it very, very soon. So that's very positive. I think that's
If
a
Wes
good
is
showing.
endorsing you, like I think it's probably going to be bode well for his future in the challenge. So Nathan, please come back. We want to see you, and I'm sure that everybody on MTV is going to be pulling for you to come back on. What do you think about Claudia? Do you think she's going to be coming back to one of these seasons of the challenge?
I don't know. I mean, I really do love all the Argentina players, even though we don't have the said winner from that season on this World Champion
I learned
spinoffs.
that as well. I was like, oh, oops. Because remember we were
Yeah,
talking about the fact that we're like, oh, or maybe I said it. I thought that Soul would have been the winner because like she was so strong in the season before, the last episode that I saw. And so the fact that like I was like, oh, I just assumed that the people that weren't the losers or like that I knew that were already eliminated. I just assumed that I guess Hui and Rodrigo were the winners. Anyway, sorry, continue.
no, I completely agree because I was saying that the whole time we were doing the draft on the Nullified Takes channel. I was like, oh well, at least we know who won, but that's for us assuming that that the challenge would be able to wrangle in the winners, even though the rumor is that they were filming so quickly after the Argentina season had wrapped up that it was just going to be too much to just do it, play the game right back after another. And to be fair, if they were if they needed some time off for their mental health or just to recover physically from their one season, I mean, coming in to do this game, which is going to be even heightened level of competition than what they just went through. I mean, I would rather them take the time off or MTV plan this out in a way that they could allow people to recover and then be able to represent their country and their spinoff on the World Championship instead of feeling like they need to take a break. But
plan this out. You don't think this was well planned out, Drew?
I do like Claudia. I just don't know if she did enough to want to warrant a callback. I do like her. I think though that if anybody is going to get a call back, it would be maybe the younger competitors who are, I think, have a little bit more of an imprint on this first 2 episodes, which is Benja, who seems to be getting a ton of confessionals. I love him so much. And then you have Hui, who is a ball of energy. I mean, her and Nelson are laughing hysterically on their way to last place in episode 2. But I mean, they have such a positive attitude that I think that they have more of an imprint to be then maybe called for later down the line, more so than maybe Claudia and maybe Rodrigo. We'll see.
I know. But she definitely was a nice presence. It was nice to see.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do like their attempt of bringing more international and, even different language speakers. Like we were worried that it was going to interfere a lot, but I don't think that it actually did. I thought that they really have integrated quite well, better than I thought that they were going to integrate with the English speaking other contestants. So yes, she was positive and very confident. I liked her attitude. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm not sure if it was enough of a pop to come back in a future season. But if she did, I could also see that happening as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, all right, let's just get this going. So, now that we've talked about the first eliminated team here, who, Drew, do you have on the bottom? Number 14.
At number 14, I think it's no surprise to anybody, but I do have Nelson and Huhui down as number 14 for the sole fact that not only did they get last place together in the first daily challenge of the season, the chain game, but Huhui was one of the 5 people that didn't finish the qualifier. And I don't think that they're in a strong power position in the game. I mean, they don't have much pool. Nelson was sort of picked last. He was a leftover alongside Kellyanne. I don't think he's going to be looked at as a very strong threat in the game. And Huhui was already had her name thrown out there as a possible person for nomination before Sarah decided to take the reins and swap it around on Kiki and Kaz. Albeit it seemed like the last day. So I just don't think that they are. I don't think that they are in a very big power position moving forward. But we'll have to see what's going to happen next week in elimination and who they will be going up against.
I agree with you here, Chris. Nelson's heart is not enough to help Hui Hui. I also had this duo in my bottom placements, obviously for all the things that you've already said, but then for the fact that they're nice and they get along and they're laughing and they're giggling, but I just don't think that Nelson's strengths are going to be able to help Hui be able to do well in any what elimination do you think that they're going to be able to do that they're going to be able to win together?
Something that's
think of one.
Not puzzle based. But they're also going up against possibly two strong teams of either Jody and Benja and Tristan and Kellyanne. I mean, the Tristan and Kellyanne didn't have that well of communication like Nelson and Huhui. But if it's physical, it's going to be a really big battle, So I don't know. Nelson has a lot of experience, though. That's the thing, is he has a lot of experience in eliminations. And if him and Huhui can really have that positive energy and focus together, they could do it. They could do something, I think.
They could do something. I guess I just don't have any faith with Nelson, unfortunately, in this position. He's a little bit lower than mediocre, I would say, just inconsistency wise. And I just don't know if he's going to be able to bring her up. I really like them together, though. I think that they're both lovely people this episode, and their camaraderie is quite nice, but I just don't think that they're going to be able to pull through. Do you so I'm assuming that because you're putting them in the 14th position that you think that they are going to lose the elimination.
I think they have a shot of possibly winning, but just taking into account of even if they do win, where do I see them landing? And I think they just don't have any power. They don't have an ounce of real power, because even with Bananas saying Argentina is on the bottom and why don't we just keep throwing them in over and over and over against each other until they finally lose, I feel like that's not only his positioning, but he's partnered up with Justine, who is partnered up with the US, and that just is like an avalanche of votes who will possibly be going into sending in players and the power of who they're going to send in. I mean, Jody and Benja, it's so easy for the first vote just to be who got second to last and who got third to last. Let's just send them in. But Jody and Benja got fifth in that daily, and everybody just dogpiled votes on them when they finished pretty high up, according to other people. So it's
yeah. So why do you think? Oh yeah, I guess we'll talk about that when we move up to them at one point. But I definitely was a little bit surprised that they were thrown in against them. But do you think it's just because it was burn vote and like Tristan and Kellyanne were who they were anticipating were going to be going in?
I don't know, because I'm confused, because yes, it seemed like in the edit took the reins of the voting, and his speech was, the name of the game is you had to go in and compete, and the two teams that couldn't stick around were Tristan and Kellyanne and Jody and Benja, and then those were his two votes. It just didn't, to me, it didn't make a lot of sense. I just think it came down to who was more connected, and Benja and Jody just don't have the connections. Like, Jody doesn't have the connections on the vet sides, and Benja is from Argentina. So it's kind of like a two-way street that we should just send them in, when Naya and Rodrigo were third to last, but Naya has a lot more connections, say, with Jordan and Bananas, and the list goes on, where Jody just doesn't have those connections. So I just found that speech a little, I don't know, questionable.
Mm-hmm. Yes, questionable. Well, I think what he ended up saying is like maybe the one team, maybe he wasn't really accounting the second team. Like maybe he's just like, let's just make sure we put like the worst performing team in and then burn the other vote. I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe.
All right, so I will go now with my 13th place team. And that is going to be Tristan and Kellyanne. I mean, no surprise here, me putting them in my second to last place here. Tristan failed the qualifier, so he did not get any choice in the matter, and neither did Kellyanne when they're choosing these teams. So he had the last pick and she was last picked. And so, if I'm not mistaken, anyways, that's not really a great position to be in. Like, nobody really wanting to be with you on this season. And then also Tristan, considering that he was a winner, that he did not perform very well at all. And then when they worked together, they didn't even work together. They were pretty abysmal with like how they handled doing that puzzle. Yes, I know it's hot. Yes, I know those chains were 700 pounds. Yes, I know that puzzles aren't either their strong points. They're hoping to have a 50-50 shot at being able to do some types of puzzles. So hoping that the types of puzzles that Kellyanne can do were not the types of puzzles that Tristan can do. But no matter what, they were second to last in that first daily, and it was just a terrible showing all around. Also, with Kellyanne and her strategy in the house, she is the vet here. She's the one that's coming in with a lot of knowledge, potentially a lot of numbers, and she's already not allowing her numbers to help her in this game. She has an ex-boyfriend in here, in Wes, who's not seemingly wanting to keep her in the game, and he should, because she's partnered with someone from the UK, and so you would think that you'd want to keep the UK strong, but he's still not willing to really, put a hand out for her. And then also with one of her good friends, Johnny, that she's just played 3 seasons with, she's not even able to getting good with her. She's rubbing her the wrong way. She's rubbing Tori the wrong way by saying that she wants to come after the American. Like, she's just playing the game so poorly, and Tristan is her partner here. So everything that's happening so far with this team is pretty bad. But I rank them ahead of Nelson and Hui because I feel like they are more likely to win more things in an elimination if we're down again.
Yeah, I completely agree. I have them at 13 as well for everything that you said. I mean, when it rains, it pours for Tristan, getting absolutely last place for the men's side on the qualifier, going into an elimination, then being able to skirt the elimination, albeit at the cost of his friend in the house, his best friend in the house from the Challenge UK, with Nathan leaving. So that's just another number gone for him. And then he is able to evade the second elimination by not coming in last place, but then gets the most votes to get sent or be nominated into this upcoming elimination. And then Kellyanne coming in, she's not a champ. Nobody really is like wanting to pick her from the global MVPs. So I think that kind of mushed with her head a little bit, that nobody really wanted to pick her. She came in last place. You could see that she's kind of foggy. Now all the MTV legends are kind of talking around her, making her even more paranoid. Wes doesn't want to help her. John A doesn't. It's just a mess. It's a mess, but you never know. Maybe they can be saved in the next episode and not go into elimination. If they do go into elimination, maybe they do win, and maybe that'll kickstart something in them that they're like, okay, well, we can do this. We've seen that before in past seasons where a team just doesn't seem like they're working out. They get sent in early, and then all of a sudden it really starts to click. And then they're like on a streak, either being sent in multiple times to elimination, or they start figuring out a way to play in this game later on. But either way, it's not a great start, especially in a game like this. You don't want to stumble out the gate because that could just be a pattern for the rest of your game. So we'll have to wait and see.
It's just
but
like people are immediately don't want to work with you. That's not great. That's not a great start that people are just already like, okay, like if she's going to be nominated or she's going to go directly in potentially, like she's going to spiral every time. And that is not fun for people that are playing. So yeah, I'm worried for them. I don't think that either of them are going to win this season at this point. Yeah, they're down at number 13. All right.
Yeah.
Who do you have next here, Drew?
Next up, I have who is nominated with them in Jody and Benja as my number 12. For the reasons that Benja did do the qualifier and finished it. He finished it a little bit lower than halfway through. But even coming in 5th place and being a strong team, both physically and smarts wise with puzzles, they can't get away from being sent in or being nominated to go into this possible next elimination. So I just think that's a kind of a showing of their power in the game, and it's not very much. So they're going to have to win to get some power to start making alliances, or people are going to have to kind of wise up and be like, maybe I want to run with Jody and Benja because I don't want to face off against, I don't know, a very strong team later down the line and then possibly be sent in when there's very little numbers left in the game, when I could be Jody and Benja's number 2 or number 1 pair instead of like a very strong pair as number 3 or 4 option. So yeah.
Do we have a good pick of Benja or no? We don't have a new pick.
I sent you the link in my drive.
No,
with
I know
all their cast photos.
I don't see the new. Oh, there it is. Why didn't it come into my? Oh, there it is. Why didn't it show up in my? It didn't show up in my tingy ting. Hold on a sec. Maybe it's here. Oh, it is. Wait, that is him. Never mind. Do you know when it's like at the top and I didn't scroll all the way up? Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's all good.
So I can just put a picture of these two up here. So we're doing this all on the fly. Okay. So Benja and Jody. I had Benja and Jody a little bit higher. Just for the fact that they did finish in 5th. I know that they don't have a lot of social capitals, but I do feel as though Jody is a better partner, works better under pressure than if she did have to go up against Nelson and Hui. I just feel like they are a better team, and I think that they are more likely to beat them. So I had them a little bit higher. I feel bad for Jody here because, like, you know, she didn't really want Benja to be her partner, and he kind of chose her anyways. And she's just kind of like, oh, darn it. And now she's being thrown into elimination here. So yeah, I understand like why you may want to put them here, but I have just more. I have more faith in their ability to do well in challenges going forward. I just think that, I think that they're potentially they could win power still. I just think that they're in a better position than, who'd you have here? Who'd you have there again? I'll look.
I picked Benja and Jody for 12.
Oh yeah. So putting them there, I feel like my pick is a little bit different, and let's hear what you think. Because I feel as though Troy and Amber would fit in this position for me. Now they finished poorly in the daily together, and now we know that Troy is really, really good at stuff. But he didn't really show to be that great these particular 2 episodes. Other than like the rolling on the cylinder, he wasn't that great. And we didn't see anything from them at all this episode. I don't remember if Amber had a confessional or two, or if Troy, like, I just feel like they were pretty invisible. They weren't part of any of the strategy. They're not being thrown into elimination, but I just don't know if I feel like they are making a splash, or they're here for the long haul, or they're going to be winning this game. I've just felt that like they were pretty invisible, and they just didn't perform well, either of them.
Okay, I can understand where you're coming from. And given Amber's track record on the main season of kind of being targeted, and then she's playing with almost the exact same group of cast members that have not really had her back, I can understand where you're coming from. Troy and her really weren't like shown too much in this first 2 episodes. I don't think they had a lot of storylines to have to be like going forward at this moment. So with some of the players that were kind of like roughed in the middle, not like roughed in the middle, but kind of like you don't know, they didn't really have too much going on this first 2 episodes. I kind of went off of their competition level and some of the players that are around them, and I found that I had Amber and Troy around number 9 in my rankings a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we took the average of your 12th and my 9, it would come out to them being 11 as a consensus, which I think is pretty solid.
Okay.
Where did you have Jody and Benja on your list?
Jody and Benja I had at 14, 13, 12, 11, 10.
10?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be 11 as well. So we can actually
so they're actually kind of the same spot. Cool.
So we can actually debate on who we would rather have at number 11 and number 12. Number 11 and number 12. Because the only thing I will say is that Amber and Troy didn't get nominated to go into elimination.
That was going to be how I was going to qualify it with you here, is the fact that Benja and Jody, they did get nominated, regardless of me feeling that they performed a little bit better than Amber and Troy. But I do agree that the nomination, that sucks, and so that means that there's something that they're doing that isn't great for their game and their longevity. So I can agree with you. And then having Troy and Amber at 11, is that what we're saying?
Yes,
that works for me so far. All right, so then who's next here on my little listeroo? So I'm sorry that Argentina is not doing super well this season. But I had Naya and Rodrigo originally at number 14 to 12. So I felt that they didn't perform very well for that pretty much at all. So what number? Like, they were last in their 12th place in the qualifier, or the daily. That was pretty abysmal. Like, other than the last 2 teams that are pretty much facing elimination, Naya and Rodrigo were right there. They didn't really work well together. Naya, we know that she's great in eliminations. Rodrigo, he's likable, but he was eliminated on his season. He didn't even make it to the final. He can salsa dance, right? He was salsa dancing with Justine. So his social game is decent. We know that Naya is, pretty well insulated, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to perform well together. So I had them at 12th place.
Yeah, I had Naya and Rodrigo around 11.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's pretty solid. We had them around the same spot. I mean, Rodrigo, I think, got 7th or 6th. No, he got 6th for the men on the qualifier. And he did talk about wanting to expand his social game, and he was dancing, I think, to expand his social game.
Mhm.
But when it came down to it, it's really, really difficult. I think he picked a great partner in Naya, as
Mhm.
she is connected with Jordan, as well as she is a very strong physical competitor, where if they have to go into elimination, I like their chances of coming out. But I think when it comes down to the when it comes down to the relationships in the game and we're voting on people who have the stronger connections, I just think that Naya could be seeing an elimination sooner than some of the other players that are possibly on this list. Um, so I do think that Naya and Rodrigo, especially since he is from Argentina and they seem to be an easy target at this moment, for sure, it has to be at this spot of
10.
yeah.
Numero 10.
But I will say that I'm very impressed that they didn't get any votes. Like not even a burn vote, no votes at all, which I think is very impressive because it could have been easy just to vote in Tristan and Kellyanne and Naya and Rodrigo, um, for the simple fact that they finished like third to last and second to last.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is pretty high for them. Like this is like they didn't do super well, but I like them both. I want to see them do better, but I think for the fact that Rodrigo's going to be an easy target potentially, and he's not going to be as well familiar with the challenge. Like I don't know if he's watched any seasons beforehand, if he was a fan. Like at least with say it's Troy, he's a fan of the show. Justine's a fan of the show, so they have an idea of what's to come. I just don't know if Rodrigo knows what's to come and what's to expect, and so I do worry for them being good at a lot of things.
Yeah, I agree. And also something that's when you were talking, the one line that Justine said during the salsa dancing portion was that she loves the vibe that the Argentina players are bringing to the game, but she doesn't know if they can play a cutthroat style game. So I almost wonder if that's going to be like kind of like a foreshadowing of, okay, they're going to be put through a lot during this season, and we'll see how they're going to be able to fare, if they're going to be able to make the hard decisions if they get into power, or if they're just not going to be able to be as strong politically in the game. So that's something to watch out for.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably don't want to take off Naya. That's true. That's true. Gregory wants to know how we feel about the Argentina winner not being on the season. We briefly talked about this a little while ago. It sucks because I would like it to be that representation. I think that's why they were calling it MVPs. I would have loved it to be people that ran the final. Like that would have been a nice little, like if you got it to the final, like either in first, second, or third place, you might be playing this season. So that's my thoughts. Like I wish that she was there. It kind of sucks that she wasn't. But do you think it could be? I heard that it was also because it was a solo winner. So maybe because they didn't have a male counterpart that wanted to participate, so they just got two new people.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish they would have brought in first and second place with the man and woman winner from Argentina. Because coming into the season, I think a lot of people were worried about how Argentina would be viewed in this game. And it's kind of unfolding exactly how a lot of people thought it would, where they're going to get targeted, maybe because of the language barrier, maybe because they're not being able to communicate during daily challenges. They're not performing as well. And to not have the same playing field of everybody having the winner or two winners of every single spinoff except for Argentina. Not to say
Right?
like that holds any real weight in the game, but it just feels different when you don't have the same like
Level of
resume as
competition.
everybody. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just weird. To me, it just doesn't feel right. It just feels odd. It just feels awkward. But I do love all four competitors on here. It's just weird. It's
They
just
just might
weird.
be out. They're going to be outperformed most likely because they weren't the top of their season.
Yeah, and that's also another like that's also another just like reason that people can like go against them, being like they're not the winners. They're not. We were the winners of our cast, or we went to the finals in our cast. They're not even the winners of their season. So I mean, we can go against them, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Or it's just another justification that doesn't really mean anything. It's just weird.
I totally agree that it's weird, and I mean, maybe they also needed to have some layups, I guess, a little bit, but I just would have liked it just to be winners, finalists, competing, because everybody's going to kick their butt most likely in most things. Boo, boo, boo. It's your pick next, I think.
All right, I'm gonna pick. Sad to say, I'm gonna pick Darrell and Kiki as up next to be in the power rankings. Mainly because Kiki was nominated to go into elimination, and once your name is said, it kind of gets said more and more times, even though she was labeled a pawn. I just worry that this could be a trend if, say, they don't have any Argentina players to throw in, that they're just going to continuously want to throw in Kiki. And Darrell hasn't had the best of luck on some of the seasons that we have seen, at least on the main seasons when he's playing with some of these players that are on this cast list. Hopefully they gain a little bit more ground on everybody and is going to be able to have a little bit more say and power in this game. But yeah, well, I just don't think that they have a lot of power in this game as of right now. But I wanted to put them up there because Kiki did prove herself in the pole wrestle, and Darrell is a 4-time champ. So I think that they could work well together.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if they will have that sway in the game as some of the other teams that I have higher on my power rankings.
Now, I understand your rationale for putting them here. I had them a little bit higher because Kiki was still like pretty high. And if I'm not mistaken, she was pretty high up in the qualifier, right?
Fourth.
Yeah, and so fourth is, well, she completed it, right? And like there's people that are ahead of her that didn't. I think that she got thrown in there because of strategy, like, for the fact that like Sarah was like, hey, let's make the people that won have to go against their friends that are available. And so she got outplayed, I guess, in that sense, because she didn't win, but like I don't know. I feel like she was stronger. Like she came out, she won, and so I had her a little bit higher. I had her at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, I think. 1,
8?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th.
Oh, 7th.
Yeah. What did you have?
Okay.
At? What number is yours actually?
My official rankings, my own personal is 10th. So I mean, it would we could if we do that, then they're gonna be coming in around 8.
8? Okay, so we're at what, 10 right now? So
we're
then
9.
We're 9. Okay, so let me just see who I'm putting in here next. Oh, this is spicy. I got Justine and Bananas in next. Now,
really?
Because Bananas and Justine, they were really bad at working together. Like I thought they were going to work together a lot better. Obviously, I love them as a duo. I actually think that they're going to go far. They're going to go to the end. I think that Team USA is going to be the dominant force in the game. And I think that Justine hitched her wagon to the right horse. But I just don't think that they performed super well in. Where did Justine place in the qualifier? Do you remember offhand?
3rd.
Oh, 3rd. I thought it was later. And then she was 11th in the other thing.
She was like last in the first 2 parts of the checkpoints with the eating and the hammer at home, and then she roared back to finish 3rd for the women.
All right. Well, that changes things. I thought she finished later. Let me move them then. I'm going to move them in my list up a bit. So, okay, then I would put, I'm going to move them up 1. And then Emily and Yes, I don't think that they did that well either. So
Okay.
that's who I'm going to put there instead. So that would mean that Emily and Wes I have at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at 9. So yeah, this spot.
Okay, we can put them at 9. Emily and Yes, we can put it at 9.
And then Darrell and
'Cause I
Kiki at 8.
Yeah, because I had Emily and Yes at 8.
Oh, great. Okay, that works for
So
me.
it kind of works out.
Okay, well, that's a
for
genius graphic though.
for Emily and Yes, I put them up at 8. They didn't really do gangbusters. Emily did not finish in the qualifier, which I was very surprised about, even though that the poll is like about their weight,
What
their own
happened
body
there?
weight.
How did Kaz and it's because it was weighted?
Yeah,
Because
the
Kaz and
poll.
Zara were able to do it so easily, but it's because they weigh less than Sarah and Emily did, kind of thing.
Right. But it's weird in that sense because then they can't even pick up their own body weight, but Zara and Kaz, who are way tiny, can pick up their own body weight. I don't know how exactly I could get that in my mind and wrapped around it, but it's pretty upsetting that she couldn't even finish the qualifier. But her and Yes together did quite well in the puzzle, getting 4th place, I believe, right before Jody and Benja. And I think that they are going to be a strong duo where Yes is going to be the calm one, and he's going to be able to have the mindset and the focus, where Emily's going to be a lot more the brawn and a very similar build to Laurel in a way. But in these first 2 episodes, not super like thrilled with how Emily kind of is just going along with Sarah as like the Robin to her Batman almost. Like it looks like she wants to like be there for her Australian like players and competitors, but then when she thought that when everything backfired and she was like, why is Kiki going in when she was going to be a pawn and that wasn't supposed to happen at all? Like, she seemed legit shocked by that.
Like, I was like,
Just,
how is that shocking?
yeah, it was just like, it was kind of crazy in the sense that maybe Emily just isn't like fully into the game just yet. And I'm sure that they will be able to power up in the power rankings into our power rankings as the weeks go on. But right now, I wasn't super impressed with Emily's performance in the first 2 episodes. It just seemed like she was more worried about not finishing the qualifier and wanting to be wanted by so many of the challenge MTV legends that she wasn't able to like fully focus into what needs to be done and like sticking up for her numbers that might have her back going forward in the game.
Yeah, I agreed. Like, she did disappoint me a little bit, but I do think that her pairing here with Yes is going to be a good one. I mean, Yes, unfortunately, is not seemingly he's not seemingly liked by the fandom right now, for whatever reasons. I'm not sure how well he's going to do in the house. We haven't seen him interact with Wes yet, and so that's I think it's going to be really determine how well they do in this game. Is like, does he have friends or not? Is John A working with him or not? Like, so we haven't really got to see what his position is yet. And so that will obviously determine their power rankings in the future. And then also whether or not I think that they actually have a shot of getting to the end and winning this. But I just think that Chris, no, so many people are so mad at Yes right now for like saying that Jody should go in, and like, they don't like his little battle with Wes. Yeah, I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of people that are not fanning with them. But if you guys love him, go for it. I'm not mad at it.
I like Yes. I love Wes. Yes. I love Yes and Wes.
You love Yes and Wes? Okay, if you guys all love Yes, and then just scratch it, whatever I'm saying, and that's just for my comment section where people don't like him. Anyways, so Yes is number 9, we're saying, and then Kiki and what was it, Darrell are number 8, correct? Is that what we're saying?
Correct. Yep.
All right, so then do we get to put Justine and Bananas here?
I have them at number 7, yes.
Okay, so they are there. They go there then. So while I just fix that graphic, do you want to chat about them and then I'll pipe in?
Sure. Justine, I have to say I'm very impressed with how she did in the qualifier. I mean, it's easy to just kind of get far behind, but with how long and um how difficult that qualifier was, she never gave up. She showed her resilience and finished third on the women's side. It's absolutely immaculate. She's incredible. She got the most confessionals in episode 1 and a good amount of confessionals in episode 2, which makes me feel like she could possibly be the narrator of the season. And she's doing an incredible job. Did not do well in this past episode. Now, I know that people are going to say like Bananas' ego was bruised, not being the first man picked, not even the second man picked. However, with how Kaz is with puzzles, it's best that her and Bananas were not partnered up together, because they could have came in last place on this chain game puzzle. But Justine and Bananas were able to finish this puzzle, get like 10th or 11th, and stay out of possibly being nominated. And it seems like the US competitors are looking to stay strong together. So if that's the case, they're in a pretty good spot in the game with numbers on their side, as well as maybe already having some pre-existing relationships with the other US competitors and MTV legends in the game as well. So balancing out Justine's performance in the qualifier and then them as a pair in the chain game, as well as hearing how many confessionals and taking in apart their alliances in the game, I feel like they kind of sit right now in the middle for me. They're the good barometer at this point of like, if you're above them, you're doing pretty well, and if you're below them, you need to pick it up.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what do you think about this? Is this a tinfoil hat that I'm wearing that Bananas potentially was like, hey, let's not beast this out too much because we don't want people to be looking at us as being a super strong team. Let's just finish. Let's not go too hard. Let's other people put some targets on their back as being like, ooh, the front runners here, and maybe take a step back. Do you think that he might have given that kind of coaching to Justine in this challenge?
I would not be surprised if he claims that he threw yet another challenge, because that's just how he would do it. I mean, if he got, yeah, I'm sure he will say it. I'm sure he'll say it, but I don't know. This is a big puzzle for how heavy the chain is, and then how trippy the puzzle could be depending on where you got your spot. But I don't know. There's at some point you can't throw every single challenge, you know? So I don't know.
I don't remember either. Now I forget some of these things. There were so many qualifiers that I keep on forgetting about, and then I'm looking at my list. I'm like, should that person be higher or no? As of right now, I have Tori and Danny next. So how are you feeling about that?
Okay. I'm cool with putting them at, I actually have them at number 5 at the moment.
So 5 and 6. Okay, so who do you have at 6?
I have Jordan and Kaz at number 6, but I might be putting them a little too low. I think
had them higher. So I had Kaz and Jordan at 2.
Wow. Okay.
The reason why I put them so high is just because she was running things in, she came second in that qualifier, seemingly quite easily. Where did they place in that qualifier, or the whatchamacallit? They placed high in that, right? They placed second or third. So also getting second there, I feel like she really was pulling to do quite well in both of those challenges, and so I wanted to kind of reward her with that.
Okay, I will be convinced that I have them too low.
Okay. It may be not second, but I think that. So, who do you think we should put in 6?
I will swap my Danny and Tori for Jordan and Kaz. So
Okay.
That would make unanimous Danny and Tori at 6.
Okay, let's do that. That feels good for me. Want to riff while I fix the graphic?
Yeah, Danny and Tori did not need to do much in this first episode. I mean, they're well connected, they're well placed. They did not finish high up in the chain game. They finished 7th. So that's not great, but it's not terrible. It's actually right in the middle of the pack. I think that's basically where they want to be. Just like what we were talking about with the Challenge USA competitors, they're all super connected. And then you have Tori, who is taking Recon back to them. So not only is Tori very connected with the MTV legends, looked at as a very strong competitor, being picked second? No, third. She's picked third on the women's side.
Third, yeah.
Yeah, because Ben chose Casey. So that pair is going to be a really solid pair, I feel. But hopefully they get to like actually put together some good momentum moving forward, because they can't stay 7th all the time. They need to like pick it up at a certain point. And I think with more teams falling by the wayside, or if the politics of the game start to really show their head, and maybe if some of these stronger competitors are going to start like maybe going into eliminations more and falling away, I could find Danny and Tori easily jumping up super, super high onto the list of players that will not want to be seen or messed with.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that they are a strong duo. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of Tori necessarily, but the fact that she's partnered with Danny, and can I have a little "I told you so" to you, Drew? Because remember I was saying like I feel like from the preview that Danny and Tori are together, like they're probably switching partners. Algorithm. I'm like, okay, then they are partners. Now, do you think that there's gonna be a shakeup at all, or do you think that these are the partners they're gonna be running to the end with?
So from looking at this is from post Drew doing the shot for shots and taking a whole bunch of screenshots, 101 screenshots, actually 105 screenshots from the 1.5-minute trailer.
Oh my gosh.
That was at the end of episode 1. It looks like everybody sticks with their partners for the most part as we're going through the rest of this game. So if that's the case, then all these teams are going to pretty much be sticking together. These pairs are going to be sticking together, and that's going to be a solid pairing of Danny and Tori in this game. So this is going to be tough, man. This is going to be really tough.
Yeah, I mean, they're like I do feel like Team USA is going to be the team to beat. They seem to have the most strategy, and their duos are seemingly the strongest. So
yeah, because they got Casey, Tori, Bananas, and who's the last one? Casey, Tori, Casey, Tori, Bananas. Who am I missing? Oh, Theo. Duh. So yeah, that's
Theo's with Sarah. Yeah, yeah.
That's those 4 are strong, and they almost have all their feet in all the different countries, just not Argentina or Australia, I think. So yeah.
So yeah, they are doing well, I think, this season. They're going to be there for a long time. I feel like I can see them easily running the final. I think they'll make it the long haul, because even though Tori just won, I just see she's able to kind of hide a little bit. Like, Danny also is really able to kind of hide a little bit. And he's there as a number. He's there for he can bounce ideas off of him. He will make a decision if he needs to, but he's not necessarily the loudest voice in the room. And so I think that they're going to be able to kind of squeak by for a little bit. I don't think anybody's going to be coming for them. They'll come for Bananas and Justine before they come for these two. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they'll come for Sarah and Theo for sure before they come for these two. So yeah, I think that they are going to get to the final. I do think that they're going to do well. So who do you have at number 5?
I have at number 5. I almost want to
switch it.
No, it's going to be now I'm rethinking all my tops because it's all thrown around. Gosh, man. I guess I'm gonna swap my number 3 for number 5, and I'm gonna nominate Theo and Sarah as number 5.
I have Theo and Sarah at number 4, and then I have Ben and Casey at number 5.
Okay, that's very interesting because I have Ben and Casey at number 2.
See, Ben, what, he came in second all around or third?
Second in the qualifier.
And then how did they do in the other thing? Let me see.
They got third.
Okay. So maybe I'm just like not, well, I mean, whatever. It's like one position. I definitely had Ben and Casey next, but I could see Theo and Sarah going here because Sarah did so poorly. The reason why I had Sarah bumped up a little bit is for the fact that she came up with that strategy that was really working. It seems like people are listening to her. It seems like people are coming to her with information. Seems like she has Emily underneath her thumb here and is able to really, at that point, kind of take some of the power from Australia. Even though Grant is still wary about Survivor players and about Sarah herself, I do feel as though maybe sorry you're laughing at.
Yeah.
I don't have them at number 2, Judas. I had them next. So I can put Sarah and Theo next though. Because they did so poorly, like she didn't qualify, like she DQ'd.
Yeah, so that's what I decided to take into account is the competitions because originally I had them at number 3, which I think that they are going to be a really strong pairing. That I had them at number 3 despite how poorly the competitions went for them. But everybody's coming for me for my Ben and Casey take. They're in a great position right now in the game. I mean, Ben impressed the heck out of me in that being in the top 2 of the qualifier and then in the top 3. I don't think his name is getting said anytime soon, being a part of the US crowd, as well as having Casey as his partner. That's just my opinion. I'm willing to be swayed. I'm just saying that from the first 2 episodes, not saying that they're going to stay there the whole time. I'm just saying from the first 2 episodes, Ben and Casey just seem like a really, really strong duo. I had Theo and Sarah originally at number 3, everybody. So relax.
Okay, so you think Theo and Sarah should go in here next? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, do you want to hear my original number 5?
Oh, yes.
My original number 5 is Wes and Zara.
Ooh, I have them at number 3.
Okay.
The reason why I have them at number 3 is because obviously Zara won, and she won both, right? She won the qualifier, and how well did they do on the daily? Hold on, there's too many things to remember.
They got 8th.
8th? Oh, okay. Maybe I was giving them, and I was giving credit for Wes and like, the strategy and her going to school there. I have a lot of faith in Zara and Wes as a couple or as a pair. But maybe I could take them down to 4th, but I don't think that they should be next. Ooh, ouch.
Okay. All right. We'll put Wes and Zara at 4.
Sarah and Theo at 5. Okay. Right?
I don't know. Should we?
Who did you want next? You wanted Ben and Casey. I have Ben and Casey here, but I was thinking of you had Theo and Sarah there.
It's really difficult. This one is really difficult for me for Theo and Sarah because of how they didn't do well in either episodes, or she didn't do well, but her political game and her social game are really shining through super early.
But are they going to be last in? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Just like her showing wasn't great.
It wasn't great. And that's why I think this one's difficult for the power rankings, because it's difficult to like teeter on what do we put more emphasis on. Why'd you have, let's go through this. Why'd you have Ben and Casey at 5?
I guess
Just
because
boring?
I didn't see anything from Casey really. Like she had a couple conversations, more conversations that I've seen her have in a while. Cool. But like I just didn't feel like they were that strong in the strategy. Like I know Ben's gonna be kind of brought along because of Sarah, because they're both from Team USA, but like I just didn't feel like he did that much. Like, yes, he did well in both of the daily and the qualifier, but like I just think that I just didn't feel like they really made the needle move that much in the game of it all. They were just solid.
Okay. You know what? I can't, for the fact that we're labeling this power rankings and we have to take into account a lot of things, it almost feels like Ben and Casey and Theo and Sarah are almost like
Same.
opposites of each other,
Right.
almost, because Ben and Casey did way better in the competitions that were given to them
And then
in the
Sarah
past two
did way
episodes,
better than the strategy.
and way better in the strategy. And it seems like Ben will be kind of like brought along.
Well, and like Theo is like so in with like MTV, like so rooming with bananas. Like I feel like he's just going to have his finger on the pulse as to what's going down strategically, as well as having like knowing what's most likely going to go on in the Brit side of things. And so I feel like Theo and Sarah actually have a decent amount of a strategic agency. And so, yeah, I think that they're at the same spot. I agree. If that's what you're trying to say.
Okay, so
They're both at 5?
I say I was gonna say Ben and Casey at 5.
Okay.
I would say Ben and Casey at 5, and then Theo and Sarah at 3.
Or you still want to keep, who do you have at 4?
Do you want to bump up Wes and Zara? Because I can do that too.
I originally had Wes and Zara at 3.
Okay. Let's do that.
Because I think that they're more well-rounded. Okay, so let me just put their picture. Wait, so sorry guys, we're doing this on the fly. I'm making these graphics like on the fly here. So okay, so we have a 3 at 5. That's 6. 5 is Theo and Sarah, correct?
I thought it was Ben and Casey.
Right. 5 is Ben and Casey. 4 is Theo and Sarah. Okay.
Yeah.
Ben.
And then 3 is Wes and Zara.
And Casey. At least I'll have this done next week now. So like I will just have to change numbers. Ben and Casey. Okay, so they're 5. Put their pictures in there. Boom. Ben. Casey. Where is she? Can't even find her in these damn pictures.
She's hiding.
But like she's literally, where is she?
She's in there somewhere, right?
I know. But like I can't find
Where's
her.
Waldo? Where's Casey? Is gonna be
there she. Oh my god, she literally was there the whole time. Okay, Casey's in there. Okay, let me put that up for you guys to take a look at those two. If you want to talk a little bit more about them, you can.
Ben and Casey.
Yeah.
So Ben and Casey did really well in the competitions, as we talked about, but when being able to talk with Chantele and kind of lay out exactly how much power that they could have in this game, it's going to get kind of, I don't know. We don't really see kind of Ben and Casey like being able to pull the strings in certain ways. So the way that they would be able to pull the strings is if they were to win daily challenges. I think that when it comes down to it, that the US consensus will be what Ben wants to do, in the sense that the conglomerate of the US players will just be Ben's mind at the end of the day. And kind of the same thing with Casey in the MTV show. She's not really prominent as a political or social, social mastermind, but like a political mastermind. She kind of just goes with the flow, and she never gets really targeted thanks to all of her numbers that she always comes in with. And so it's going to be interesting to see what she can do without her like normal group of Big Brother players and Nani always having her back and being that shield for her. It helps that she has Ben, and he's so connected to the US representatives. But at the end of the day, I just feel like Sarah's going to be the brain of the US competitors, and they're just going to follow her because, yeah, we'll just do what you want to do. And then they can kind of fall back on her. But at the end of the day, maybe we could see Ben and Casey being sent in sooner than Theo and Sarah, or maybe even Justine and Bananas at some certain points. But just taking into account their competition of how well they've done, I think they deserve to be in the top 5. Maybe not 2, but in the top 5.
So somebody's mentioning that Ben is going to have beef with Grant later in the season. That's interesting. So somebody's going to get some points eventually. Yeah, like obviously I'm not the biggest fan of Ben, but he did perform well these 2 episodes. Casey, generally speaking, performs well. She just hides in the shadows, like in a way that's like really, really boring. So I'm fine with having them here at 5. I do think that they are probably a good duo that will be able to work well together, because I just feel like Casey is a good partner and she can work well with a lot of different people. And she's strong. So yeah, I could see them winning dailies together. Like I could see them doing well. So, you know, we might not be the biggest fans of either of them, but they aren't doing that poorly this season so far. So
this is, if like Chris could have his like perfect team, I almost feel like this is like a team that personifies Chris's like vibe from Nullified Take Channel. Like he's not a huge fan of Casey, but she at least competes, and then he just loves Ben. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then we have in the next spot, just to continue to talk about them a little bit more. If it will play. Why aren't you playing?
It doesn't want to.
It doesn't want to play. Uh-oh. My computer about to crash.
We broke it when talking about Ben and Casey for too long. It's like, nope, this is your punishment.
Yeah, we're not doing this anymore. Okay. Oh, okay, there we go. Whew. Thought this crashed or something. So yes, Theo and Sarah, like we kind of already mentioned, that they seem to be strategically in a bit of a better position than Ben and Casey. That's why they kind of got bumped to this is correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so again, we're not that big of a fan of Sarah over here, but I'm a big fan of Theo, and I want Theo to do well. I do think that Theo will work with what he's got here. I don't think that he's going to allow Sarah to like wrangle him in and make him do things that he doesn't want to do. Like I think he's still going to have control on this team. And I want to see actually how well they do together, because I was just such an unlikely duo. I kind of got spoiled by this team. And I was like, how the heck does this team get put together? You know, I was just like, what? Because I at first I thought it was like maybe the algorithm put them together. And I was like, huh? Like this is what the producers want? Like I was just really confused by it. So now knowing that it was kind of because of Sarah's placement that it was chosen this way, I find it interesting. But I think that they could actually possibly work well together, because there's not going to be any sort of I don't think there might be a power struggle, being that Theo is going to want to be in control and so is Sarah at times, but I think that it might still work out for them. Like, I think they might still be able to work well together.
I think if there's one team that absolutely nobody wants to see in an elimination, is this one. Like, I mean, they got height, they're physical, they're pretty good at puzzles, I would think. You know what this team reminds me of mostly is Theo and Cara on War of the Worlds when they got paired up together. I mean, it just seems a little bit unfair. I mean, I get it that Theo hasn't been on the MTV challenge in quite a while, resting up after his injury, and then he isn't a champion, so he slipped all the way down in those the draft. But my goodness, Sarah got spoiled, not even like completing the qualifier and getting such a strong partner in Theo. I just don't know what to say. I mean, as long as they can compete at a high level, I don't see this team getting rocked at all. I really don't. Like, it's just I would have them easily at number 1 if they would have finished in the top 3 of either
Yes.
competitions.
If Sarah,
But
well, I mean, but then
yeah,
we wouldn't have this pairing if Sarah finished well. So I
that
think she
is
would have
true.
chosen someone else if she had a better positioning. But like I think the guys are stacked for sure. I mean, both sides of the coin are stacked in from the vets. So yeah, I think that yeah, it's definitely a team to be terrified of. I think that they're going to be real scary. Okay. Anything else to say about these guys?
No, I think we're good.
Then we got Wes and Zara, correct? This is where we're having them?
Yes.
Yes, Wes. Yes, Zara.
Affirmative.
I love these two, honestly. Like Zara, obviously, of course, was like she won the qualifier. She really came close to winning her season. It was a 1 minute difference, and if I remember correctly, they were still an hour ahead of the second place male team and the third place. She just did really well. She's super fit. She's thin. She doesn't seem to crack under pressure. She was willing to go down there and protect like her castmate. Like she's just so strong. She's fearless. And Wes, if Wes is seeing someone being like, wow, she's a challenger, I think that bodes well for her being somebody that he can work well with, that is going to actually also do well together. I absolutely loved her with her notepad, taking notes from Wes. Like, I'm sure I know it was a gig, but like I just felt that it was just so perfect. I love their partnership and I want them to do well. I think that they have a really big possibility to do well. I can see them making the finals pretty easily because they're both so strong. I just think that they're going to win more dailies than Wes has won in a while. So I'm looking forward to seeing this duo work together. And I'm interested to see how it's going to work out that Wes doesn't care about the countries. Like he just cares about winning. And I want to see if it's gonna work out for him. Drew, are you still here? Or maybe not. Am I frozen? Or is Drew frozen? Drew's gone. Okay, well, I really like Zara and Wes. What do you guys think? Oh, Drew says he lost power for a second. What do you guys think about these two here? Hi, Sudani. So Sudani says Wes and Zara have great chemistry as a team. Excited to see how they do this season. Totally agree with you here. I really feel like they're the team. They're just like the most like dazzling team. Like she's so stunning and good looking, and he's Wes, and they work well together so far. And she's just good and not afraid of anything. It seems like I'm pumped. I'm pumped. Yes, Willie. Wes is very strategic. He thinks so many steps ahead, good social connections, but he also doesn't care. Like he's not. I just think that he's going to put them in a good position, and they're going to win, or at least get to the final. I mean, hi BBG. I was very impressed that Zara was willing to go in and protect Kaz and didn't flinch when TJ asked if she was sure she didn't want to change her vote. Yes, she was holding her ground here. 100% think that she is a badass, and Wes saw that too. He's back. I was like, is he frozen? Is he frozen? And he was frozen. Welcome back.
Thank you. I was sitting here and then everything went dark in my house for a second. I didn't know if I blinked or if the power went out. The power went out. So it just came. So it's all good. The internet's back on. Hopefully my new computer is doing fine.
Yes, doing fine. Well, what are your thoughts about this duo?
I think that they are one of the best well-rounded teams. Zara absolutely crushed the qualifier, did an incredible job. And then I was actually hoping that they would do better in the chain game elimination or daily challenge, but they did well enough to stay out of possible elimination. I'm intrigued by them deciding to kind of go against the UK numbers. So I think that's super, super interesting that they decided to, instead of burn voting like some of the other, like Jordan and Kaz did earlier. But I think that they're going to be a very strong team to face off against, and I think that they could be a team to be reckoned with. I do have very high hopes. I mean, with Wes, I always have high hopes with them, but I think that they have a really strong decision, or they're really strong pair to move forward into this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm most excited about these two. Like I like, obviously we want, everybody wants Wes to do well, even though he just won. I still wanted to do well, and I want to see how he does with a partner that's really really good. We haven't seen him work in a male female partnership in a while, right? Like for the season ever.
Who, Wes?
Yeah.
He's been 28. He was paired up with Nani. And then for 33, he was paired up with D for half the season.
Oh yeah, like until like I liked his partnership with D. He created a monster, but like in the beginning, like it was really good. So I want to see how this goes. I'm into it, and I love all the UK people. So I'm happy to see Zara maybe become part of the challenge world. I'd be happy to have her. So loving
also,
it.
Want to just give a shout out. I don't know if you said it while I was away, but I want to give a shout out to Zara for holding her grounds and not giving in to Grant by voting in Kaz into the first elimination, and holding her ground, being like, I'm going to stick up for her. And if I have to go in, then so be it. I will go into face off against Claudia, which I thought was really, really incredible. I think that's very impressive.
Yes. It did happen in the blackout. But
Yes, it did.
yeah, we all agree that like it was pretty badass, and that was one of the reasons why Wes was like, this girl is a challenger, for the fact that she wasn't afraid to go down into the sand and stand her ground against Grant. So yeah, we love that about Zara. So Zara's a badass, but next up is another badass. Another like so strong of a team, Jordan and Kaz. Now, people are wondering why Jordan and Kaz are ahead of Wes and Zara. What are your thoughts there?
My belief is that, well, first of all, I had them at fourth or fifth in my original power rankings. But I think when it comes down to, say, the level of competition, that Jordan and Kaz finished second in the qualifier, just behind Zara, and then Jordan and Kaz finished right behind Johnny and Grant, almost possibly winning. So I think that really stands for something. I think also Kaz is a little bit more connected, even though that she was nominated to possibly go into elimination against Claudia, that now that she's partnered up with Jordan and Jordan is going to be connected, Kaz looks like she's also connected, that I think in a game like this, they're going to have more power at the end of the day than possibly Wes and Zara, who could have a bigger target on their back with going against and voting in Kellyanne and Tristan, instead of maybe being a little bit more strategical in, say, burn voting like Jordan and Kaz did. I think that Wes can be almost too clever for his own good. And as Bananas and Theo were kind of like joking around, being like, oh, he's heartless, he voted in his ex, I could never do that to Kaz. I mean, I think even though that's a joke, people will look at that and be like, they don't have any alliance to anybody. Like, they're willing to send in anybody and vote in anybody. So granted, it's just the first vote, but I think it could stick to some people's minds as being like, we're going to have to maybe we'll send in him in earlier than later, and possibly test Zara and Wes in an elimination. I just think that Jordan and Kaz had a really strong showing, or first outing, in the first two episodes. And
all around, yeah.
Yeah, and even though Zara was able to win the first go around, they got 8th in the second competition. So if we're looking at like the competition levels, I would give the edge to Jordan and Kaz for getting second place and have that consistency. Yeah.
100%. And I'm just really, really pumped just to having these so many good duos, because usually there's like one or two really strong teams that win everything and run the season. I just like the fact that like there's so many really, really, really good teams. And these two are one of them. I can see them getting to the finals. I can see them winning the whole thing. Like they're just so damn strong. And I'm just so excited because everybody's so good. It's not predictable. Like, yes, I know some people are like, oh, it just looks like, the US are going to dominate, and I actually think that they most likely will, but maybe not, because we have these duos like with Jordan and Kaz here. Like Kaz is not US, Kaz is UK, Zara UK, and so we're going to have other things happening with really strong teams that might not be USA centric. So I'm just very, very, very excited to see how this whole season shakes out, especially with the number one team not being from the UK or the US. What do you think about that? So talk about Johnny and Grant, who I haven't finished their pictures yet. What do you think?
I'm not surprised about Johnny being picked number one, as she should be, and that her pairing got the number one spot in the first game, especially if that game is a puzzle and they had the hardest puzzle. The person that really impressed me was Grant in being able to come out, compete well against the global MVPs, getting first place, and then their first daily challenge as a pair. And I mean, so complimentary to John A. Is trusting the process and trusting her resume and her reputation of being this really strong competitor, especially with puzzles, and Grant knowing and being self-aware that he needs that help in his game, and coming out really, really strong. I mean, honestly, not a huge fan of Grant from Challenge Australia, but in the first two episodes, he was very personable. He was fun to watch, and being able to have this power early in the game could be a really strong benefit for him and John A. So I'm just really, really impressed.
So am I. I'm also so happy that I am the one that has Miss Johnny on my team, and I am the one that has Grant getting Grant in on the last round of picks this season. So I'm really, really pumped to see them both on my team. I'm happy of having them as a partnership, and so I'm going to be rooting for Grant all the way, even though nobody else seemed to want to root for him. On my other channel, or on my channel when we did our draft, Grant was my sabotage, and I'm like, yes, give me that sabotage. So I'm really happy to see them working so well together. I want to see, can Johnny do it a third time in a row, like 3 times a charm. It's interesting that she's playing for Australia, so I want to see how that kind of fares, because I did say that like I felt that the as a whole the USA team is stronger, all 4 of them, but here like I want to see how much damage she can do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing these two run this season together. So fun, isn't it great?
Yeah.
So
Really,
let's just, I'm gonna
really strong.
play the little video. So do the whole thing so we can see all the rankings, if it will allow me. Okay, go. So coming in at number 14, we got Nelson and Hui Hui. Number 13, Tristan and Kellyanne. 12, Benja and Jody. 11, Troy and Amber. 10 is Rodrigo and Naya. 9, Yes and Emily. 8 is Darrell and Kiki. 7 is Bananas and Justine. 6, Danny and Tori. 5, we got Ben and Casey. 4, Theo and Sarah. 3, we have Wes and Zara. 2, Jordan and Kaz. And number 1 this week is Grant and Johnny. I think I'm very happy with what we came together with. Like, we had a lot of people in pretty close or similar positions or pretty close to, and I felt that how we kind of mixed it together, I feel confident and strong about this being the right list. It is correct.
Yeah, I think this was really, really good. I enjoyed being able to talk about this game in this way with the pairings, and I think this season lends to this kind of format with the power rankings. And
Yep.
I'm gonna be very excited to see who, like, as the weeks go on, who starts to rise up the ranks, and then who like kind of drops down in certain ways. So I think this is gonna be super, super interesting to keep up with from week to week.
Me too. Very pumped. Thank you, Lena, for the super sticker. Much appreciate you. The top 10 is pretty stacked. The whole season's pretty stacked. I mean, like the people that are on near the bottom, like it's like shocking. So I love the season so far. I love doing these power rankings with you. But Drew wanted to let us know how this first week has gone with our points. Can we hear about it?
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely hear about it if everybody
Uh-oh.
wants to.
Uh-oh.
Coming in at number 3, a spot that somebody doesn't really know what to do with when they're in there is me. I have 66 total points. I lost Nathan with a grand total of 0 points. And my highest scorer at the moment is Kellyanne, because thank you, Kellyanne, for getting a lot of screen time for being going kind of paranoid. So I really, really appreciate it, because it wasn't looking good. I'll be honest. For episode 1, I only had 22 total points after episode 1, where I think you had 52 points after just one episode. So I was in a very bad spot, but Kellyanne came roaring back with those confessionals, as well as Tristan. So, but I'm still in third place at 66 points. Team Chris is in second place with 78 total points. His highest scorer is Wes with 12, Kiki with 11, and Emily at 10. Really, really solid. And then, of course, Team Chantele is number 1 for having everybody who won daily challenges or the qualifier in the first 2 episodes. So you have 93 points, which is 15 more than Chris, who is in second place. Grant, of course, is your number 1 scorer with 21 total points. He had 11 confessionals, 2 daily wins. And then you had John A as your second highest scorer with 16 total points, which is higher than anybody else on here. And you also have the third highest scorer, or we're tied with the third highest scorer, because Kellyanne has 14 points based off of paranoia and confessionals alone. And then you have Zara at 14 total points with the win and 9 confessionals. So yeah, you're winning by a pretty good margin, but we're only a sixth of the way through the season. We'll see how it's gonna go. I'm trusting the bakery. I'm trusting the bakery in the process. But yeah, that's what we're at right now.
I mean, I'm really happy. Obviously, anything can go. When we drafted these teams, we didn't really know how the pairs were going to be stacked up. So, like, I might have made some different choices if I knew what teams people were going to be playing for. Like, if they're going to be playing for US or they're going to be playing, So, things could definitely change as the season goes on, but I'm happy to start out in the lead. That makes me really happy because, I was just playing from the bottom sometimes. And so it feels good to be playing from the top this season so far. So thanks.
And what's really fun about this kind of draft is that we had no idea who the teams were going to be. So it's like we could have feast or famine weeks where, like, you this past week having John A and Grant together, that's a plus 10 points.
Right.
Whereas if famine could be my week coming up next week, where if, say, Kellyanne and Tristan go into the elimination, both of whom are on my team, and then get eliminated, then that's just more people just leaving the game. So it's like, yay, they could get me 2 elimination
double
wins,
points, yeah,
or I could completely get wiped out and be down 5 players at the very start. So You never know what could happen. I do have Jody. This is really bad week coming up for me. I
Oh
have
my God,
3
Jody and
players.
Rodrigo and Tristan and Kellyanne. So you're losing 2 players for sure.
Well, not necessarily. You have Nelson and Huhui.
Oh,
So
actually, no, they're going to go. Sorry. Well, if they, you have 2
if they
people that
beat,
are potentially going into the
yes,
elimination.
I have 2. Yeah, I have 3 players out of 4 that are nominated to see who's going to be sent into elimination. So this is going to be very interesting.
But I might be losing my 2
Oh,
sabotages.
I didn't mention it, but Chris, one of Chris's sabotages, Claudia, was eliminated. So right now you have the most players, as you have all 10 of your players still left in the game. Chris has 9 and I have 9.
Claudia
So,
wasn't a sabotage, actually. It was his last round female draft pick.
oh really?
Or he got the last female. I remember I sabotaged him with Casey.
That's right. Sabotage him with Casey. That's right. I'm getting my
Which like
sabotage
now, like
mixed
I'm
up.
worried though. I'm like they might win some dailies, you know. Anyways, whatever. I'm
Yeah,
in
we'll
first
see.
right now. I only have a little mini game today. I kind of, getting into the new season, you kind of have to like figure out new things. So I'm just gonna ask you if you can remember what were the expertise of these these veterans. All right, so what did MTV say that Johnny Bananas' expertise was? Are you frozen again? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Drew? Lovable Nikki, why don't you like my games? I love stumping Drew. You guys are right. He did say, well, it says politics. Politics is Bananas' expertise. All right. Well, I'll keep on going with you guys until Drew comes back, if he does come back. Now, for Team Australia, we have Yes, Y-E-S. What is his expertise? Yes's expertise. Let's see if it's out for good. Yes's is actually endurance. Yes, you guys are correct. It is endurance. What is playing for Team Argentina, Naya's expertise? Naya's expertise. Yes, Naya's expertise is strength. Very good. What about Kellyanne? What is Kellyanne's expertise? Kellyanne's expertise. She is a yoga master, yoga guru, yogi. Actually, Kellyanne's expertise is strength. It's actually is agility. Agility. Freaking out though is meltdowns pretty close. Freaking out, but yes, it is agility. Correct there. Flexibility, pretty close. Freaking out meltdowns is probably what it should be. Hookups, we haven't seen her do hookups yet. I'm interested in seeing her do having a little fling with somebody, but she might have a boyfriend right now. Yes, Diva, we know it is not puzzles for that woman. What about John A? What is John A's expertise according to the challenge this season? John A. Hilarious. Yes, paranoia for Carolina. But it is endurance for John A. Yes, it is. What about is the expertise of everything? That is true. She's doing pretty well. Well, maybe not handling Kellyanne. I would say, yeah, social game is actually, I think, more of her expertise personally, but according to the challenge, it is endurance. What about our girl Jody? What is her expertise playing for Team Argentina? She was on a show called Endurance. She, spoiler alert, won her season of Endurance when she was, I think, 14 years old. John A. we're speaking of. But Jody's expertise is strength. Like, I don't even know what strength means, but that's what her expertise is. What about Casey? What is the furniture, Team Clark Furniture expertise? I'm waiting for the jokes for this one. Team Clark, Team Argentina. Oh, sorry, not Argentina. Team USA. Expertise. Casey. It is her social game. Good job. Who do we have left here? We have, oh my God, are we almost done, everybody? What is Wes's expertise? Expertise in having no street time. Shots fired. Guys, oh my God. Oh my goodness, you guys are funny today. But what's Wes? Wes is pretty standard. Yes, strategy, politics. It says strategy though, but strategy is Wes's expertise. What about Theo? What is Theo's expertise? Theo? Theo's expertise is actually speed. We know he's super fast. He's super tall. He was a Olympic runner, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, he is. Yeah, I'd say everything, but speed is what they have down here. What about Nelson? What is his expertise? Nelson is actually heart. And lastly, what are Jordan and Darrell's expertise? They both have the same expertise. So Jordan and Darrell have the same expertise. What is that? That's for Nelson, I'm assuming. Yes, you're right. It is endurance. They both can endure the pains of the challenge. Awesome, guys. You guys are so fun. Thank you for being here, even though it was at an unusual time. I have an event this evening, so I will not be able to stream at our regular time. As far as I know, we're not doing anything with Chris tonight. I think what we decided is that we're going to reconvene in a couple of episodes. So maybe not next week, but the week after, and then a couple episodes, like a couple weeks later. So just doing 2 or 3 more, getting back together, but not talking about the episode every week. So just a couple more times. So Chris might be doing something else. It would most likely be about Australian Survivor or Survivor 44 if he is streaming tonight. But we will be back together to talk about, obviously, the points, how the season's going, a couple more times before the season ends. So it will happen very, very soon. So thanks again, everyone, for being here. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Also subscribe to Drew's channel, the Angelcake Entertainment channel, because we love Drew, even though he is in a power out right now. You guys are, is about WC. Chris's stream tomorrow night about. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Is it with me? I don't think it's with me. Am I on the Chiron? I don't know. I'll find out. We will be back together soon. I just don't know if it's tomorrow. It might be something else. He might be talking to some people on his side of the world about that tomorrow. Thanks everybody again for being here. Again, subscribe to both channels and like this video and let us know what you think about our rankings here. Who do you think that is too high, too low? Did we get it just right? Just give us your opinions about our ranking, and I'm going to put our ranking in the comment section below. You guys are great. Thank you, lovable Nikki, for holding down the fort here. Please, yes, like the video. It's great for the algorithm. You guys are awesome. Enjoy the rest of your day. We will see you next week for sure, and maybe sooner. And I just don't know. Goodbye.